Holy moly! I had forgotten so much of this game. For Capy Games, I'm Christian Meyer. With me is Kenneth Young
What's up?
and Chris Petrowski.
Hello.
So, Don't Starve Shipwrecked is a game that we got to work on that belongs to Clay, their Don't Starve main game, and we got to work on an expansion. And not all of it was Cappy stuff. Once we had finished up our portion, it went back to the Clay team, and they just kept jamming on all like our super weird ideas. The nice thing was they didn't say anything about like, oh no, that's too weird or that won't fit in the world. It was pretty much like, that's insane. You should do that. So we got the thumbs up, green light on like everything, including the one and only Crabbit.
Crabbit is a cool name, though. Is that
Yeah,
like the
Crabbit's a
theme of
great
how
name.
they design all the animals? Like they combine two animals into one?
I don't think they normally do that. I think this was our take on their rabbit creature. So when you start the game, one of the first mobs that you encounter is a rabbit, and it's it like squeals and sprints away. And we were like, well, we can't have rabbits. We're on like desert islands. That's not going to make any sense. And somebody came up with a genius idea for a crab. That's also a rabbit. I don't know who said crabbit, but whoever it was, awesome job. Who designed the wonderful four characters for this DLC? My brain says Vic Nguyen, but that man, I hope that's accurate. I don't want to not give anybody credit who totally deserves it. But
Anyways, back to
I
the
thought it was really
question.
funny.
Yeah, I think Vic did most of the art and design for all of the new content. I don't know if that's true.
I know he was working with the clay artists as well, so there's probably a bunch of give and take, but he was responsible on the Cappy side, I'm pretty sure, for most of these things. Uh, One of the things that we put in the game was a basketball that one of the coders named John Maurer put. I think he may have named it Rollins, or somebody else named it Rollins, and that inspired us to put text related to the creation of basketball in Canada.
I don't understand. So the lore is that there exists some mysterious basketball in this world?
So, slippery spear gun. There is a basketball in this game, and that's a good question. What is the lore about it being a basketball?
It's like a mysterious thing that no one knows where it came from.
It. Oh, what is the purpose of the basketball? I am absolutely forgetting. I think it distracts monkeys.
So in the chat it says the basketball is a reference to History Minutes basketball episodes.
Absolutely.
And History Minutes that's the Canadian history thing, right?
Yeah. This island is so evil. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I really love games like this because like as a developer, like you're just sort of like developing this ecosystem using like all these bits and pieces, and then like once you see everything interacting together, it just like opens up into this crazy thing that you can't really anticipate sometimes.
It was also really interesting because their tool set was so robust and useful. We were just able to like play in their world and make a ton of stuff without having to like bug them about like, how do we dig into this depth of code? It was literally just, oh, cool, like we can do that because you've got these really great designer tools. Oh,
Yeah.
I think we found my favorite island.
What is this?
Yeah, this is like one of the few pieces of content that I made that I was super proud of. I'll show you as soon as the light comes back on. Okay,
Like
so
a parking lot?
this big scary thing here is one of the things I deal with from sanity loss. And these eyes here, this guy walking through. Those are all a reaction to me being slightly insane.
Skull Island.
That is correct. We are on Skull Island. And it's like one of the very few things that I put together myself, and I was really pleased that it turned out so well.
Yeah.
But mostly it was like, getting to tweak values and being like, okay, we got this kind of island and this kind of island, and this was like one of the handmade. What do we call them? Biomes. It's like a handmade biome I got to stick in.
Okay. So like when you say like you make islands, you're just like inputting the values of like this spawns, this spawns, this spawns, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like what percentage of things, similar to how we do in Grindstone, where you would pick the spawn logic for the different creeps and the amount of time it takes for something to come in. Like you can't control it exactly, but yeah. So this is.
If you open up the
Red
map, which you just had, but
oh, cool.
you can really see the nice design of it.
Yeah, Red Boy in the chat asked, "What else did you make yourself? Set pieces."
Ooh, set piece wise, that's a tough question. This is the only thing I remember. I know that I got to contribute some stuff inside the volcano that I was pretty proud of, but this was like the one big thing where I was like, "Oh man, everyone is going to notice and remember this," and then I think I did, and everybody else is probably like, "Yeah, okay, it's another thing on an island." Yeah,
super cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's pretty great.
Would look better without this toothpick he's got here. That tree out of there. Set piece, yes, set piece is what we call them. So set piece is like a landmark inside of a biome. So a biome would be rock or forest or marsh. And I wanted this to be like a pretty bountiful place, so I set up a ton of this stuff. Oh, do we know who created the Cutlass Supreme or the Coconades? I don't know this for a fact, but I tend to say a lot of that stuff probably was at the hands of Dan Vader, who was the lead designer from Capy on the project. So what did Capy work on for Shipwrecked? Initially, like everything in terms of content?
Yeah, like at the beginning, I think we were just sort of, almost like given free reign to go bananas.
Yeah, it was pretty much like
Shipwreck.
everything was on the table.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this island is monkey hell.
I'm kind of curious, like, was there anything that we cut because it was just too much even for us? And I know, like, we have a pretty high bar of what is acceptable and not.
Great question. I feel like we didn't cut anything. Jerk.
I think I would assume that, like, just like with all Capy games, that there's way more concepts on the table than is humanly possible to create. Which is probably true for a lot of game studios.
Yeah, we went pretty overboard on this one, but I don't remember anything that was truly cut. Like there was even a bunch of stuff that got in just because somebody was like, well, I'm going to try to put this in, and it was easy enough to get in, so we ended up with like coffee. I mentioned John Maurer earlier, and he managed to get coffee in as a thing that he did on a train ride because he was like, I feel like the game needs coffee. And it was easy enough to use the tools where he was just like, cool, I made coffee on the train ride to work.
Was he sipping a coffee on the train ride and just staring at it?
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
Being like, I've got an idea. The thing that's right in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah, that goes to show you like how important it is to have good tools when it comes to game development. It's like, because if you don't have good tools, then like you gotta like ask a programmer to like hack something together, and then you gotta get artists to like integrate it, and then there's gotta be like custom code and blah 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 blah. But like if you have a tool, then all that is sort of unified, and like you can sort of like handle all the aspects of creating a new feature as one person.
Especially when you're coming into a game that has been around for a while, so the tools themselves have also been around for a while. So, by the time Capy gets its hands on our hands on Shipwrecked, we're sort of like, we're introduced to the whole kind of Clay suite of tools, their engine and everything, animation pipeline, all that kind of stuff, and Yeah, that's it's interesting. So there's a lot to learn also, like from our perspective. Like I think working on Don't Starve sort of showed us a lot of things as well. So
Yeah, and it's sort of like it's always this kind of constant dilemma when it comes to like game development. Like, do you spend time to like work on a tool when there's a chance that this is the only time you'll be using this tool for this game? So it's always kind of hard to say. But definitely for Don't Starve, since it's been around for so long and they have so many updates to it, and yeah, tools make total sense.
I think because the game is so much has so much content, like in terms of like what you can craft and what you can interact with, and the different kind of rule sets, different biomes. There's like a richness to the mechanics that you really have to have something that's set up so that creating new things and creating new interactions and combining things together to make new behaviors and new craftable recipes and things like that. That all that stuff really needs to be easy on the development team, or you know, as easy as possible, so that you can kind of create this giant library of stuff that a player can do. I think it's like extra important with games that are all about like crafting tons of stuff and lots of different mechanics interacting together.
I think John is actually in the chat. He's sharing a little story. It says, some of the parrots have fun names, so I added a bunch of Capy Kids names to the list. I was horrified when I saw Murder Harrison when mousing over it in my inventory. Instead of removing the names, I removed the ability to murder named parrots.
That's a great story.
That's really nice.
Like, it's cute and wholesome, but also like, oh my god, that's actually a little horrifying that people might do that.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Was there ever something you really liked but unfortunately had to cut for X reason? That might be a John question.
Yeah, that's probably more of a John thing. Like, most of my stuff was biomes, and those were like easy to get in, easy to do. Where's that? Oh, fire pit's way down there. That's why I can't find it. I'm so hungry. I just need to cook these things before I can eat them. Also, it looks very likely that I'm going to die. This might be a much shorter play session than I had expected.
Croco dogs. That's sounds like another cool animal combo.
Cook. Eat. But first,
so
I need
many
food.
Experts. Chat.
Yeah, I think we got some real Don't Starvies people here. Oh, a doggy!
Don't Starve has a ton of fans, and a lot of them are extremely hardcore about it, I think.
Is that the name of Don't Starve?
Starvies?
Starvies?
So we call it Starvies internally, but I was going to say, what do they call themselves? They call themselves Starvers?
The Don't.
Oh, build quickly! Ow!
Don't ease. We're the don't
quick.
Don't Starve fans. Okay. Wait, what
I
killed
forgot
you?
how good this screen
Wait,
is.
did you die?
Just this. I did. It got dark, and something in the dark bit me.
Oh, totally. I looked at the stream at the chat for a second, and all of a sudden,
Like, hey,
dead.
look, a loading screen. Yeah,
Wow.
Starvers make sense to me. We call the game Starvies internally, and I don't know. I think that's just like a. Do we call it a Mattism? Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah. Yeah, so like Capy, we started inventing a lot of words for some reason, and I think Matt was like the origin of a lot of those words. Don't Starve Together fans just call themselves Wolfgang Mains.
Is that true?
Wolfgang Mains? Oh, that's awesome.
Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
That's what chat said. But also, now I feel like Don't Starve you guys are like super cool.
Oh, someone said that is not true.
Okay, well, I want it to be true. So
Not
badly.
true at all.
It sounded rad.
That's not true. Everyone is now coming in to say it's not true.
Coming out against it.
Yeah. No, we're not Wolfgang Mains.
Oh, do you have a personal favorite character? Who, and if so, why? I'm gonna give you a really sad answer in that I don't, because I don't know the difference between most of them. But I know that I love Walani because the second you start the game, you can just jump on a surfboard and start going. And I think she's like the only one that kind of gives you that freedom right off the hop. So I feel like that's a cop-out answer because I don't have a good answer. But yeah, basically I like Walani because instant freedom. It's like playing easy mode. Sorry, when we had pushed this out, we had spent a lot of time watching other streamers play. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of this this guy. He has a beard, very like a Jack something.
Jacksepticeye?
Jacksepticeye, yes. I was like, somebody's gonna know this when I start vaguely describing him. And he was like a ton of fun to watch this, but he would also like rip through the content, get right to the end, and be like, oh, we're building advanced stuff today. And I was like, oh my god, it is so fun to watch an expert go through these games, whereas when I do it, it's like embarrassingly slow and bad and difficult. I'm sure people are just sitting there going like, okay, this would be nice if somebody good played, but you're all right. Oh yeah, Glurms and Dizzy Disaster. Those are some other streamers that we enjoyed watching.
There's a question in the chat that said, what inspired the slot machine, and is it and its loot table? Is that something I don't?
Yeah, I think that's down in the volcano. Yeah, what inspired that? I think we wanted you to have more reasons to go in there rather than just seasonal.
Why is there a slot machine in a volcano?
I think I'm trying to remember, but I think there's gold coins that you can get, and I think we wanted you to have another reason to go to the volcano.
Oh, the chat.
Oh, the slot machine's on its own island. It's not in the volcano. Okay, then maybe it was a source of resources then, because we were maybe having some other issues like having people run to places and maybe not have enough to do. I'm only kind of vaguely remembering these because I was only in half the meetings because I was also splitting time with Below.
So the slot machine in the volcano is, according to Drew, I believe that's Drew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. He's saying that it's a Joe versus the volcano reference, which is a movie.
Oh yes, that was another thing that we watched
90s or 80s
as a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great reference. I really enjoyed watching that.
So you could technically die from a coconut.
Yeah. And again, I think that was like one of our funny joke ideas, and somebody was like, well, let's just try it, and we all kind of loved it. Oh, damn it. Thanks.
What inspired the Quackin' if we made that?
I believe we did, and honestly, that's a Dan question. Why
Wouldn't
didn't Dan join us?
Like, this is what the main reference is, probably just the Kraken, right? Mixed with a classic Don't Starve-ism, which is combining two animals into one.
Yeah, Drew's got some great answers in the chat. For those who are watching, First Elder D is a member of Capy and has some great insight into a lot of things that I do not remember.
So yeah, Matt confirmed. He says the most obvious mashup animal for Kraken. So you got your Kraken, and then you got your Quacken.
There were just some cool questions about like the different characters and what it's like when you first see Woodlegs for the first time. And I don't totally remember all the details, but thankfully Drew does. Yeah, I only vaguely remember Watricia, but for some reason I didn't think she was one of ours. But I could be remembering that incorrectly.
Sunset Sky asks, I'm really, really curious about the peacocks in the Shipwrecked PAX demo, but I get the feeling it might be lost knowledge by now. Seemingly, they didn't last long. Oh.
That's a good question. I think peacocks may have evolved into doidois.
They went extinct over the span of development.
Only to become another species that is also technically extinct in real life.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what the motivation was for doidois. Like, were we wanting this cool thing, like, hey, we could inspire you to save a species? Or is that overthinking it?
Isn't it based off of what's that like super
Dodos?
famous Dodos?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dodos.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing about game development. Like some people think like every decision you make in game development is like this huge thought out thing that's been like it goes through all these people, but most of the time it's just like, oh, this is silly, this is fun, or this is easy, this was cheap to do. Someone just did it and we just thought it was cool.
Yeah, and we all just
And
decided
that's how
to
a lot
live
of
with
it.
it.
Yeah. So, not a lot of thought. Like it's not always as deep as people think. Some decisions.
Yeah, sometimes it's like this is funny and we're gonna do it.
Yeah, it can be
But-
like the biggest throwaway idea, and someone's like, I don't know, this is kind of dumb, and everyone else in the room will sit there and go like, no, that's perfect, we're gonna use it.
Yeah, I think the best equation is funny plus easy equals in the game.
Yeah. That has been true on so many of our projects.
Sometimes funny plus hard also ends up winning as well. Like if it's funny enough that we think it's worth it, oftentimes the motivation is like we have to get this in the game even though it's difficult.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
The idea is that stupid and funny.
Another question: what came to your mind while you made the nightmares that are stink rays?
Ooh, again, I think that was just a really good pun. Like we were thinking about things that exist in the water, and I'm sure it would have been Dan or John or maybe Matt said stingray sounds like stinkray, and then we were like, oh cool, that's a thing. Damn it, again, freaking coconuts. That's just like a cool, good idea, and we should totally do that. And, yeah, stinkrays were born.
Another question from Hornet. I assume this is a no, but was Capy involved in any way with Don't Starve's most recent DLC, Hamlet? I know a lot of concepts and mechanics are integrated into Hamlet from Shipwrecked, so I'm curious if Capy was involved in some way.
I don't believe we had any involvement in that. My understanding is when we turned this over, it was, here's everything we did. We hope you do great things with it. And it was integrated into the main game from there. So when we were doing it, I think we were like, oh, we'll do like a cool, fun little offshoot and minor DLC kind of thing. And I think they were pretty pleased with what we did and decided like, hey, we can make this a big, big thing. Okay, we're going to take these the right way. Yeah, there we go. Oh, this is... Okay, so some of these were things that I might have had a hand in myself, was like placing some of these informative chunks. Oh my goodness, how do I don't have room? How do I never have room?
Yeah, so in the chat, Scalpies are super neat to me because they almost got repurposed for a Forge event in Don't Starve together years later.
Ooh.
Kelpies.
I don't remember Kelpies.
Can you tell us any cool lore about the Shipwrecked characters?
Oh, I mean, that's definitely a Dan question, and I don't think he's popped into chat. But Drew has this incredible memory for this game, so hopefully Drew's got some insight.
Yeah,
John
I'm super
too.
curious about Shipwrecked character lore. Really, really wonder what Walani's life was like before the whole surfer thing.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if we put a ton of thought into their backstories.
I mean, how did any characters get here, right?
They do have some backstory set up for most of the characters. I just don't think that we put... I don't think that we needed to come up with that. I think that was on the Clay side. I think we just talked with them about some like name ideas and some ways that we thought they might work. And then I think they would have come up with a bunch of the backstory stuff and how to present the characters to players.
Can you say what can you say about interesting ideas that are not added to the game for some reasons?
Yeah, it's tough because I really do think that we managed to get in almost everything that we really wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a testament to Clay being like, hey, you guys can do whatever you want and we'll support it. and also their tools for being so easy to work with. From Capy Games, I'm Christian Meyer. With me is Kenneth Young.
What's up?
Chris Petrowski.
Bye-bye.
And this is us saying bye!
Bye!
Bye.